Okay, well, hello everyone. It is Tuesday, and we are here for our weekly 30-minute learning bites with the Healthcare Supply Chain Hub. And I am Angelique Beslick, and I just want to say welcome. So glad that you guys are here, but I am ready to rock and roll our topic for today. So let's get going. I want to talk today about the heartbeat of healthcare supply chain from a health system side of the business. And if you are a supplier listening to this right now, I want you to realize how important this is because as a supplier, you have a large role in this heartbeat and making sure that the heart continues to pump the blood through the body. Okay. So a lot of you may not agree with me with this. But this is not an opinion. This is real, and I'm going to kind of share with you why this is real. So let's jump in. I really am going to say that strategic sourcing and contracting and procurement are the core of every supply chain operations. And that is really what we're going to be talking about today and the why. If these two departments within your supply chain division are not functioning well, or there is a gap, or there is a problem, the rest of your pipeline really falls apart. And so you really need to make sure that these two parts of your division of your supply inside your supply chain are functioning, and you spend lots of time on optimization, working on processes, and making sure everything is ticking well in these two parts of your department. So let's explain this a little bit. So some key takeaways. I want to explain why strategic sourcing and contracting function as the heartbeat of the healthcare supply chain organization. And I want to recognize how procurement then serves as this operational pulse that drives product flow, accuracy, compliance, and honestly, thinking that it is the pulse of, the blood flow of, right? We need to differentiate between the core and support functions that are out there. So the core being strategic sourcing and contracting, procurement, but then support functions, data analytics and informatics and decision support, value analysis, operations and logistics, and their role in supporting that heartbeat. Okay. And I want to apply a rolling initiative calendar built on contract expirations to streamline sourcing workload and reduce redundancy. And then last takeaway is that we want to implement controls to prevent purchases without contracts, expired agreements, and non-compliant spend. Because as we talk about this heartbeat and how this functions within the body of healthcare supply chain, I want you to see how if one contract simply will cause different issues within your supply chain that are very, very negative and put you at risk. All right, so thinking about this heart of the system, strategic sourcing and contracting is the heartbeat. It protects pricing, it mitigates risk, and it ensures compliance. If something is not on contract and you are paying for it from a vendor or supplier, it is not controlled, period. A contract makes sure that you mitigate your risk as a healthcare organization. Everything you buy and spend money on within your organization better be on a contract if you are buying it on a regular basis. Now, if you buy something once, or if you buy some party supplies for a retirement party for an employee, some of that stuff does not need to be on contract. We're talking about things we utilize on a patient. We're talking about purchase services, landscaping, window washing, construction, all these things. It needs to be on contract. You're locking in a price. You're protecting the price. You're mitigating risk. There's legal terms in your contract. You're ensuring compliance, right? against many different healthcare laws out there, but also joint commission audits and surveys, DMV. You're looking at Stark Law. All these things are super important, and we have to pay attention to them. I want to kind of give you guys this 30,000 foot level view that I built for my current organization probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that shows strategic sourcing and contracting here. That second line being the heartbeat. It's a different color, but I'm going to kind of show you the connection of supply chain and why it makes it that way. Okay. Now, if I was to think about the flow of any initiative that I work, and an initiative is I am bringing a product in, or I'm bringing a product category in to my health system. That is an initiative. Every time I touch a contract, renew a contract, bring a new item in, add a line to a contract, it is called an initiative. Okay, a little bit different than a project. Value analysis is always your first touch point of any initiative. They deal with the vetting of new product requests. They approve them. They are conversion support, right? They also are product quality support. They deal with recalls. They help with safety reporting through your RL solutions, whatever that may be for your organization. They help with product standardization and support, vendor management, new products trials, education, evaluations, capital planning, movement management, and then really thinking about requester liaison, clinical expertise. So remember, that's the start of an initiative. But why I say strategic sourcing and contracting is the heartbeat of that initiative is because they source it. They work on standardization. They do the RFP. They do the renewals. They do the negotiations. They compile your clean item list for your item master file. They compile your clean pricing list tied to the agreement, and they lock in that pricing for the term of the contract, right? That is what they're doing. They conduct regular pricing and item change updates. They manage new requests, right, for contractual conflict and sourcing inside that CVA pipeline, right? They do all of the database management uploads. They do vendor management, right? They run the QBRs with the vendors. They hold vendors accountable. They may run your reprimand letter process. Then they tie that to negotiations within a contract. They do capital sourcing and quote management. And they are the ones that should be documenting your impact on your savings tracker or your impact tracker. If any piece of that falls out of line, let me tell you, POs fall out. Things go on credit hold. Pricing is not aligned. You can't cut a PO to order stock. If there is no contract out there, then you are not protected from risk mitigation and legal terms, right? And so contracting kind of sets up your whole supply chain world with a contract. Something's on contract now, and now I can buy it, which then gets the whole system moving, right? Your operations team, boots on the ground, putting the stock away in the shelves, doing returns, and everything that goes along with that. That would not happen unless you had a contract. That would not happen unless you had pricing locked in. All these things cannot happen unless you have the contract in place. And that is strategic sourcing and contracting. They're the heartbeat of your supply chain organization. Without them, everything else in all these other squares falls out, doesn't work. Price exception management, R&I, INR, all these things fall out of the world if you don't have a contract. And that's the reason being, right? Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. I built this. You could build something similar for your health system. It's very cool. But it kind of explains to your team why strategic sourcing and contracting are so important. So when I think about this heartbeat and then the pulse that goes along with it. The pulse of procurement. Procurement is the circulatory system within your supply chain body. It moves product. It matches pricing. It ensures fulfillment of orders. But they can't do that unless there's a contract in place, right? Procure to pay can't exist without contract integrity. And when we talk about four-way match, contract to PO to receipt to invoice, it all starts with the contract. And the contract, what's on contract? Is it on contract? Yes or no? What's the price? Is it loaded into your item master file? Is the supplier set up in your supplier master file? All these things start with the contract. That is the heart of the organization. And if you don't have contract integrity, how do you know what you're allowed to buy? Also, it drives what you are allowed to buy and what you're not. So if the contracting team has contracted for 100 items on this contract, but of course the vendor catalog is 4,000 items. Well, we purposely have these 100 on contract because that is our historical utilization. That's what we historically have always used. I'm not going to just put the whole catalog in our item master. I'm not going to open up the whole product catalog for our clinicians to buy. It'll confuse them. If they approved 100 items being set up in our item master file, they approved pricing for these 100 items, that's all I'm going to allow my clinicians to purchase. That's all that they need to purchase based on their usage from a clinical standpoint. The support organs of this entire body of work. Data analytics is like the brain, okay? It is running all the data. It's modeling the data. It's making sure we have benchmarking. It's making sure what is falling out. It runs our metrics, right? It's telling us and giving us visual data of what's happening, why it's happening, what to go look at, what are anomalies, what are exceptions, right? So that's your data analytics team. Value analysis is the conscious, right? So it's saying, hey, ding, 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 it doesn't make sense. We already have this product we use over here. We should not also bring this item in. It's telling us that this is not standardization. Why do we need 7 combs in our health system? Why do we need 8 toothbrushes? Why do we need 27 spine benders, right? It's saying, stop, stop. It would be like if I was, Angelique was having a binge day on my couch and my body was telling me, stop eating Oreos and potato chips and stop eating ice cream all at the same time. What is wrong with you? That is my value analysis on my body. Then you've got the operations team, operations and logistics team, right? They're the hands and the feet. They are doing the work. They're super duper important. They're actually almost the eyes and ears of the supply chain team. They see what's going on. They see suppliers coming in. They see when vendors are possibly trying to sell something, but they shouldn't be doing that there's a different pipeline. They're seeing when something comes in on the receiving dock that should not be coming in the door because we don't have a contract for it. They actually are the ones that talk to all of our stakeholders and our clinicians, and they're out there having conversations with surgeons. And how do you like it? Oh, it's not working. Why is it not working? Having great, intelligent conversations. But that's why we call them the hands and feet and maybe even the eyes and ears, because they're out there collecting all this information and they're seeing things working or not working. But they all sustain the heart. None can replace the heart. If you didn't have things on contract, you wouldn't have things on your shelf. I think that we all just need to make sure we're remembering that. So I think about the work supporting the heart and the pulse and the blood flow of it. So remember, procurement's the pulse, strategic sourcing and contracting is the heart, and all this blood flow supports both of those functions. We want to make sure that POs don't fall out. Pricing, making sure that there's a contract in place for everything you buy, and make sure that those contracts are active. Make sure vendors are set up in your system and active. Make sure that inventory locations are ready for stock. That is strategic sourcing and contracting, decision support and analytics teams, operations teams, doing all those activities. Everyone is leaning in to help get contracts renewed, RFPs completed, helping the strategic sourcing and contracting team connect with stakeholders, physicians, clinically integrated supply chain. The value analysis team is perfect for that. Making sure that any rolling initiative calendar, that's what RIC stands for, opportunities are worked during contract expiration, including evaluations. The value analysis team is on top of that alongside the strategic sourcing and contracting team, making sure that new product requests align with those expiring contract product categories and that you're not working new product requests in the middle of a contract cycle. Analytics are supporting the initiative, right? So your analytics team, your decision support team, setting up new vendors, that's also your decision support team. Pricing uploads, it's also your decision support team. New item adds, your value analysis team is helping with that, your decision support team, and making sure that you are tracking every initiative by impact, savings, increase, new spend. That's all the decision support team with the strategic sourcing team. All these things are blood flowing through the body, and making sure that the value analysis team and the operations team are helping with quick conversions and implementing 100% of the bedside so that there's no contractual scope creep of your initiatives, of your contracts, because that is where savings gets run havoc, right? You want to make sure that your initiatives stick 100% at the bedside. And I know we've taught that before. Making sure that stock is on the shelves for patient consumption. Procurement helps with that, and so does your supply chain operations team. Those are all part of blood flow into the body. Now, there is work that interrupts the blood flow, and we'll call that a blood clot, because that happens in supply chain. And it's okay that there is work that interrupts the blood flow. Our world is not perfect. I tell everybody all the time, healthcare supply chain is the most difficult and complex supply chain in the world. But because these things happen, we must take care of these things, right? A safety report on a product or a harm event, right? If a product or a piece of equipment or a device harms a patient, we must stop everything we're doing and deal with that. Back orders, recalls, product discontinuations, patient safety, new product requests, NPRs, new product requests. Maybe I get a new product request because there was a patient safety issue. We need to process those quickly, and those go take precedence over any other new product request. Same thing with one-time use new product requests. Those are usually because I have a patient coming in and I had to order this thing one-time use. Those are also hot for processing. Cost containment committee initiatives. I'm sure every health system has cost containment initiatives going on right now. Those take precedence. They're hot. They take precedence over regular standard work, like new product requests. Item adds. Let's just say that you guys approved a vendor and you awarded a vendor in a product category, and you forgot to you added size small, medium, and large, and you forgot extra large. All those new product requests are item adds. Those can be prioritized as they're really just contract cleanup activities. Tariff investigations right now are super hot. Consignment. If you are working on a master service agreement, an MSA, and there is consignment that goes along with it, those new product requests probably are hot for processing as well, because that's all part of contract cleanup activities. It's not part of Santa's wish list and new product request. It's just part of regular cleanup. And then, of course, there's the unplanned capital changes or breakage that happens. All those are blood clots that come in and interrupt our normal blood flow as a healthcare supply chain. But now we need to talk about the work feeding the bloodstream and hemorrhages. Okay, this is where our teams get overwhelmed. They are stressed to the max because remember, they're already doing contract renewals, making sure POs have the right pricing, four-way match. And then they're working on the stuff that we just talked about, the blood clots. And then all of a sudden, all this new stuff comes at them. And they're supposed to try to prioritize that stuff that's feeding that pipeline. And where do we have the capacity for all this work? Random projects that come in, maybe some random construction project. Surprise! All of the new product requests that are non-patient safety related, non-one-time use, consignment, product ads. That is my whole Santa's wish list that I keep talking about. Other projects from stakeholders that come in. Maybe your Code Blue committee says, hey, we want to do whatever, X, Y, or Z. Stop what you're doing. Do this instead. Maybe there's a new building or a new service line being built or a new tower being built in one of your hospitals. Maybe we're hiring a new clinician or a new surgeon, and we need to get them all the new equipment that they want or that they were promised during onboarding and recruiting. Capital change orders, contract change orders, adding statements of work, SOWs to existing contracts, closing a facility may add work and hemorrhages to your blood flow. And then you think about supply chain opportunities for optimization, new technology, new applications, standardization of our supply chain processes, trying to optimize our processes, standard work creation. All these things are hemorrhages to the team. And with a lot of rifts going on out there right now in the industry, we're really looking at our workload and our workflow and optimizing it, standardizing it. But how can we manage it all when you just saw 3 slides worth of work that comes at healthcare supply chain every day? And that's why I say a lot of these type of things are hemorrhages. And my thought is to the team, you cannot just say, team, just get it done. The team will explode. You'll have a heart attack. The team will. And they'll end up quitting or being like, I can't work 50, 60 hours a week. It's impossible to do all the workload that's coming our way in supply chain. And this is some of the stuff that is happening out there today. So I want to talk about the flow of work and the creation of some kind of a rolling initiative calendar, making it your heart monitor. Build it on the contracts that are expiring in the next 12 months. Make it a 12-month calendar. That's what I do. Build it only on the contracts that are expiring in the next 12 months. Then you pull the new product requests that align with those contracts that are expiring and those product categories that are expiring, and you work those then. You work that hemorrhages projects when the contracts are expiring. Oh, we need to go out for an RFP for X technology. Maybe it's credit cards, processing, or something out of the blue. We'll do it when the contract is expiring. You don't want to work that stuff when off contract cycle, because that's what's bringing hemorrhages into the team. Aligning workload and focus and preventing how many times you touch a contract mid-contract cycle. I like to work on a spine implants initiative today and not touch that those spine contracts again until they renew in 2 years from now or 3 years from now. Why should I be receiving new product requests for spine implants 5 a month for the next 3 years. Not sustainable for our team, right? So the risk of irregular rhythm. Thinking about expired contracts equal uncontrolled spend. So if we load our team up with so much work that they cannot even get to the expired contracts expire, and now we have uncontrolled spend. Things are coming in without a price locked in. We've got rogue buying, right? That's unmanaged risk. What if they just don't have time to do a really good RFP? They cut corners. They pencil whip it, I'll say, right? Then you've got weak outcomes. If I didn't give my team enough time to do a good RFP, I'm not doing that RFP any justice. And if you think about disconnected functions within supply chain that are just not connecting, not helping each other out, they're not they're not leaning in to help with strategic sourcing and contracting and POs, your two main things, you've got chaos. And I mean, if that was your body, as I'm sitting on the couch tonight eating a bunch of crap and I don't exercise and I'm stressed out to the max, I could have a stroke. Your system is going to have a stroke. It is not sustainable. And I want the team to realize it's not sustainable. I'm trying to say, team, this is what you have to focus on. This is the work that has to be done. And everything else, you've got to figure out how to prioritize it or push back on your stakeholders and say, we just cannot. We cannot be dealing with these projects right now. If you are a supplier out there, ask to align with what contracts are expiring in the next 12 months, and you can lean in with your products during those times. Do not be the one that's interrupting and hemorrhaging the pipeline of the initiatives. Hey, surprise, squirrel, look at what I'm selling today. That's not helpful. You should really be strategic in asking, when are you going to be working on spine implants again? I would love to lean in and help you with that initiative. That's the strategic thing to do. All right, so thinking about the healthcare supply chain circulation as a whole, right? A strong heartbeat equals steady blood flow equals this resilient system, right? Everything's on contract. All items in your item master file are on contract. You've got accurate data. Pricing is up to date. POs are not going to fall out. Everything's going to flow. Touchless orders, coordinated renewals. They happen on time. And before the expiration even happens, no POs fall out because pricing fell out. And then you've got engaged cross-functional teams within your supply chain and with your stakeholders. They're all happy. The problem is, if you don't have this strong heartbeat and everything's on contract and nothing expires, right? If you don't have that happening, you have so much manual intervention and touches and exceptions that happen within that workflow that you're actually spending more time fixing everything in emergency mode and fire mode than you have time for. And that's where strokes and heart attacks happen, right? So you guys know I give you guys the recording, the PowerPoint, and the massive action checklist for tomorrow. I want you guys to do a couple things. Audit your heart. Know what's expiring, who owns it, where your gaps are. Protect the pulse. If it's not on contract, it's not protected. You should not buy it. Build your rhythm. Anchor your initiative calendar to expirations, not requests. And make sure you understand your workload as a team and be able to prioritize. Support the flow, have value analysis, data analytics, operations to have them aligned to your sourcing priorities. Prevent cardiac arrest. Automate your alerts, watch for compliance, close every loop before it fails, because your heartbeat just depends on this vigilance and not luck. And finally, a healthy supply chain has a rhythm. It's a well-oiled machine. It is a well-flowing blood system into your heart, right? So keep your contracts beating, your POs flowing, and your system will thrive. And you won't have all this chaos and fires to be fighting. All right. Well, I hope that you guys got a ton out of the Learning Bite today. Please let me know if you're not getting my emails. They could be in your spam. And I want to just make sure if you guys need to contact me, go check out our website, but also customer service at healthcaresupplychainhub.com. It's so good to see you. I'm sure that maybe you guys have seen that I launched a new weekly newsletter. So now you guys have Learning Bites. You've got our weekly newsletter. Go sign up for it. If you guys want to sign up for a discovery call with me, would love to chat one-on-one with you through any struggles or challenges that you're having. And I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.